Hi everyone, this is Professor E. Um, in today's lecture, we are going to talk about chapter 2, as you can see, elementary programming. So basically, we're going to be talking about the main core concepts of programming, such as variables, data types, how to get input from the user, how to perform basic arithmetic operations, expressions, um, and few other things. Okay, so we're going to keep switching back and forth between our PowerPoint slides and also the program. So this way we put everything into practice. So if you remember last time, I was not able, by the way, to record it because I was using, I think, was it Teams? For some reason, it did not allow me to record. I tried. So anyway, like the first chapter was just basic stuff about computers. So we didn't do any programming, so there was no much that you missed. So just basic stuff. But starting from today, moving forward, so all the recording, all the meeting will be recorded and posted in Canvas. So as you can see, this is the objectives, how to write programs that perform simple computation, as I mentioned, how to get input, identifiers or variables. What are the rules when you try to define a variable? Can you name it anything you want, or there are some rules? We'll talk about that. How to assign data to variables, how to perform basic arithmetic operations, just like addition, subtraction, multiplication. We have two types, as you can see here, two types of division. The first one is the normal division that we are familiar with, that accept decimals. And when you have two forward slashes, it's called integer division. That means when you divide, you get only the integer parts of the number, and then you ignore. So if the answer is 4.5, you see only 4. And the percentage sign is for modulus. Modulus is basically the remainder, okay? And when you see double asterisk, that's for power. There are other ways you can do the power, but this is like the simple way of doing it. Okay, so as I mentioned, we're going to evaluate or evaluate numeric expressions, and then how to do assignments, and then how to do some kind of conversion, because sometimes you may want to convert from one data type to another, from integer to float and vice versa. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to use examples. So I'm going to be using the online compiler, but feel free to use any IDE of your choice. As I mentioned last time, you can install any of the programs. There's a bunch of them, such as Spider is a good one. There is a JGrasp also. I think JGrasp, yeah. I'm not sure if it's I know you can use it for Java and C++. I think you can use it also for Python. Anyway, there are a variety of IDE or coding platform that you can use. So I'm just going to use this one because this is the first class. So I'm going to make something simple. So I have a lot of space here. But from time to time, I may change to another IDE just to show you that you can use a variety of ways. So as you can see, this is the basic programming statements you can make in Python. It's print, and then you put the text between quotation marks. So all what you are saying here is when you run the program, whatever is between quotation marks will be displayed at the bottom. So as you can see right here, when I run, you see it at the bottom. Hello. Okay. So if you change anything here, okay, for example, this is my first programming lesson. Okay. So you can just run it, and that's you're gonna, even if you misspell it for some reason, okay, let's say first I put like this. So whatever you have here, it's gonna be run just like that. Okay, it's not gonna correct the spelling or anything like that. Anything between quotations is just like a text. It's like when you're copying and pasting. Okay, so it will be printed or displayed as is. Okay. And then if you want to put another one, so of course, every time you put print, that's one statement. And then I'm going to say, for example, I am super excited about this, for example. So when you run it, okay, so each one of them will be in a separate statement. Now, what about if you want it in the same line? So there are different ways. You can just use something like this, and then you put space. That means continue. So if you put run, as you can see, it's in the same line. Okay, so if you don't put anything, the program assumes that you're gonna start new line. Okay, if you put and equal space with the single quote, that means you're gonna continue on the same line. Okay, so now what about if you want to get input from the user? So let's say I want to have an interaction with the computer. Okay, ask me questions and then answer, do some calculations. So let's use something simple. So let's say I want to know the name of a person. So I put name. So this is called variable. Can you see, like, I didn't put quotation marks here because it's used. Anything that does not have quotation mark, then for the program, it is a variable that needs to be defined. Okay, so here I'm going to put name and then I'm going to put input. Input is a keyword. That means whatever the user will type, we're going to get an input from the user. For example, here, enter your. So when you see this message, enter your name, of course, you're going to type your name, and that whatever you typed will be scanned basically and assigned to this variable for storage. That's basically what's happening. Okay, let me show you how it works. So when you click run, say the program says enter your name is waiting. Can you see like this blinking cursor? That means waiting for your interaction, for your input. So if I put, for example, here, David. So now, once you hit the enter key, what's going to happen? The program will scan the name and will save it where? Here. That's why. Okay. So that's the end of the program. But if I want to make sure that what's happening, I can print it. I can say, oh, you said, for example, you said that your name is, and then I'm going to put the variable because now it is saved in there. So if I put run, say enter your name, and I'm going to put David. So once I hit the enter key, what happens? So it will be scanned basically and saved in that variable called name, and then it will show it here. It's like a box. You save something in there, and then you can retrieve it anytime you want. That's exactly. I use it all the time. This analogy of box because it makes understanding the concept of variable much easier. Okay, box, it's empty. So first it was empty, and then I put something, the name of the person here. So anytime I want the name of the person, I will just print this, and then it will show me what's inside. So once I hit the enter key, see, it says, oh, you said that your name is David. Why? Because it was saved in there. So when we put input, it's only text, okay? Now, what about if you want to save numbers? Like, for example, here I'm going to put 5. Now, if I put input, the program, even if you enter the number, the program will not treat it as a number. Why? Because you did not specify that it is a number. Let me show you an example. Let's say enter your first number, for example. Let me call this value 1. So if I don't change anything, and then maybe the value 2, and then I put input, enter your second number. So now the first one is saved, okay? Second one is saved. But for the program, it's just a text. They are not numbers, it's just like characters. To prove that, let me put here. If I want to add them up, okay? So if I want to add them up, and I put, for example, value 1 plus value 2. Look what's going to happen, okay? So let me run the program. Okay, it's gonna ask me what's my name. Okay, David. It's gonna say enter your first number. Okay, 10. Enter the second number, 20. Now look what's gonna happen when I hit the enter key. So it's supposed to add these two numbers and print the results. But when I run it, look, it didn't add them up. It just put them side by side. So that's what I was talking about. It did not recognize that they are numbers. They're just text. It's like when you put first name and last name. Enter your first name, enter your last name. Okay, your full name is, and then you put them side by side. That's exactly what's happening. Now, somebody may say, well, how does the computer know it is a number? Oh, we need to change it to a number by putting int stands for integer, and put all the six inside. So this way the program knows, oh, okay, now they are numbers. Okay, I got it. So we're gonna put here, see, now they are numbers. If they are integer, you put int. If they are decimal, you put float. We're gonna give an example there. Now I did not change anything here. Now look what's gonna happen now. If I run the program, again, it's gonna say enter your name, John. Oh, you said your name is John. Enter the first number, 10. Okay, enter the second number, 20. Now look, so now it's 30. It doesn't say 10, 20 side by side because now they are treated as numbers. So just keep that in mind. When you put inputs, whatever you are, even if you say enter a number, it does not make a difference because for the computer, it's just a text. It's just a bunch of characters, okay, or digits, but they are not numbers. The only way you can let the program know that it is number is by by basically converting them into an integer. Now they are numbers. Okay, so that's basically how we get input from the user using input if it is a text, or you can convert that into a number. Now, if you want decimal, we can do that. We can say, for example, grade 1. So I'm going to put input, right? And then I'm going to put enter first grade. Now the grade is supposed to be a number because I need to calculate maybe the average, the total. So I can't leave it like that. I have to put float. Float means it's accepted decimal because most likely the grade, maybe it has 0.56, 50, whatever. So this is the same thing. I'm just going to copy and paste this to save time. So if I copy this and then I print it and then just change grade 1 to 2 and change first to second. Okay, now I can calculate maybe the average. I can say, okay, the average grade is, and then put comma in there to separate, because now you put the text, now you're going to put a variable. I can put, for example, here, grade 1 plus grade 2 divide by 2. Divide is the forward slash. Okay, so when I run the program, say, enter your name, Maria. Oh, your name is Maria. Enter the first number, let's say 10. Enter the second number, 20. So now it's 30. Enter your first grade, let's say 56.6. Okay, 94.25. So now it's going to add them up. See, that's decimal because it's float. Float means it accepts decimal, like point something. If you put integer, there's no decimal, like only 56 or 94. All right. So that's basically how we saved it. Now let's go back to this variable. Can we name it anything we want? Well, there are 4 rules. As long as you don't violate any of these 4 rules, then your name is accepted by the program. And by the way, we call them identifiers because these names are from the user. I named them, but these are not identified. Like these are from Python, okay? This input is from, we call them keyword, okay? So these, they have a special meaning. I cannot name my variable inputs. Why? Because it has a special meaning for Python, right? It means something. So That's also that's already one of the rules. It should not be a keyword that Python uses because they are reserved only for Python to use. Okay, so that's what the first rule. The second rule, I cannot start with the number. Like if I use any digit here, the program is gonna say no thing. It's gonna say look syntax error. It's pointing to the number. You cannot start. So you have to start either with the letter or underscore. That's the only option you have to start. Okay, now can you put the number later? Yes, we already did. Grade one, there's no issue. But don't start with the number. You can put it in the middle, you can put it at the end. So the first rule is do not use any of the keyword that Python is using. You cannot start with the digits. You can only start with the letter like N or underscore. Okay. Now the third one, you cannot leave a space. You cannot, for example, put grade one like this because there is a confusion. It has to be together or separated by something like underscore. So you can either put this or this, but you cannot leave it like that because if you run it, it's gonna point. The program is gonna say, oh, say it's pointing. That means what is this one doing by itself? Is it part of this? Is it by itself? Is it by itself? What's the? So there's a confusion here. So remember, you cannot leave a space in the middle. Okay. Okay. So what you can do, you can, as I said, you can either use underscore or you can connect them. Sometimes, like for example, average, like this average right here, the correct, not the correct way, but if you want to follow the convention, like the tradition, you can put like this, especially if you have more than one word. You can put like either average and put underscore, average grade, you can do that. Or, which is the most common, you capitalize the first letter, starting from the second one. See, average grade. You don't start with the operator. I mean, you can. It's not a problem. It's not a violation, but you are not using basically the dress code. You can call it dress code. Okay, so you are not following the tradition, you are not following the convention. So if you are using two or three or two or more words, okay, start with the lowercase, but the first letter of every word should be capitalized, or if you want to follow the convention. But if I don't, that's fine, it's not a problem. So then you put here grade one plus grade two and then divide by 2. But here, be careful, I have to put the parentheses. You learned that in math, right? Because if I don't, what's going to happen? Grade 2 will be divided by 2, then it will add grade 1. And that's the order of operation. So I have to put the parentheses here. Okay? So now, since I saved this in here, there is no point in doing the calculation here. Right? It's already saved. So I can change this to average grade. Okay, and then of course close. Now everything. All right. So remember, there are 4 rules for naming your variable or identifier. Don't start with the number. You can only start with the letter or underscore. Don't use any of the keyword that Python is using. Don't leave a space. What's the fourth one? The fourth one, the only special characters that you are allowed is underscore. See? Underscore. If I use anything else, for example, if you put question mark, that would be a problem. See, it's going to be an error. See, it's going to say error here. It's pointing to this. Or you put exclamation mark, or at, or anything like this or anything, any of the special. The only I'm talking here about the variable. When you declare your variable, the only one is underscore here. Other languages, they accept also the $sign, but I don't think it is accepted here in Python. Okay, so far, what did we learn? To print, we use print, right? You are basically all what you are doing is just printing anything between quotation mark. And then you put comma to separate text. Like if you want to print more than one or two or three texts, you can, and they are different, you can just put comma. Like for example, here, I can put the average grade is this. And then if you want to put the grades, I can just put comma and put the grades. So as long as you put comma, you can separate it. To get input from the user, if it's a text, we put input, and then that will save whatever the user types in the variable. If you want to use it as a number, we put this inside ints. That means basically you are converting your text to a number, and that's going to allow you to use some calculation. You can add, you can multiply, you can subtract. Without that, we learned about that. It's just going to concatenate them, just put them side by side. Okay, so that's basically about the variable and about getting input from the user. Now, you're going to be using a lot of expressions, a lot of arithmetic operation. So the one that we are, and by the way, this is, when you see this, a pound key, this is for comments. Like for example, I can put, this program shows how to use basic output and input. Basic output and input. So the program will basically skip this. This is called the comments, okay? Comments. So every time you put pound key or hashtag, whatever you want to call it, in the front, so whatever you are typing, can you see like it's a different color? So it will not be processed by the program. So this is just for you. Like for example, here I can put also another one. I can say this application demonstrates how to use elementary or demonstrate or teach or this application demonstrates basic elementary program, something like that. So this is if only one line. Now, what about if you have a paragraph? In this case, we use 3. So you start with this, and then you end with the same thing. So 3 quotes, and anything in between doesn't really matter. Line 1, line 2, and then you keep going. So anything between these two are comments. So if you are using more than 2 lines, so probably it would be easier if you can use this notation. If you have only one line, which is most of the time, then use the pound key here, okay, for comments. Now, we said that, about the arithmetic operation, you need to be familiar with this, okay? The arithmetic operations are, so of course, plus, okay, minus for subtraction, and then we use asterisk, star for multiplication, and we use forward slash for division, and then we use 2 forward slashes. This is for integer division. We're going to give an example one day. And then we have something probably we don't use it a lot in math. This is called modulus. So this is to keep track of the remainder. So let's have an example. Now, for example, if I want to add, let's say 8 plus 9, so that's normal. It's like a calculator, okay? 8 plus 9 is 17. Look, for here, I want to focus on this. So I don't want program to keep to continue processing this. So that's a good way to basically ignore this part, at least for now. So I'm going to use this. Let's go on programming the run. Oh, I need to stop. Yeah, because I run the program, I need to stop it. It's asking me to stop before we can make any changes. So I can use it like this. So this way, the program will just ignore this because that's going to take us time to run it. We want to focus only on this. Okay, so this is basically adding these two numbers. So if you run it, you're going to see 17, right? Now, what happened if I use this? Say 2 times 4. Now, according to the order of operation, you need to multiply first. So if you add, you're going to get a different answer because 8 plus 2, that's 10 times 4 is 40, but that's not what you're going to get because the program will start by multiplying first. So that's 8 plus 8 is 16. So that's why when you run it, you're going to get 16. The same thing also minus, and then you put, let's say, 9 divided by 2. So the program, according to the order of operation, will multiply, will divide, then and only then it will add and subtract. So here you're going to get what? So it's going to get something like, so you're going to get first 8, you're not going to add, you're going to multiply, that's 8, and then you're going to put minus, you're not going to subtract, and then it's going to get 4.5. And then the program will add this. So this is 16 minus 4.5, that's 11.5. So whatever you learn in math is applicable in computer science. Now, what about if I use 2 forward slashes? So here, you're not going to get 4.5, you're going to get only 4. So maybe sometimes you don't want to include the decimal, you just want to keep the integer. It happens a lot. So in this case, use 2 of them. So here, now as you can see, so the program will not use 4.5. So that's 16 minus 4 is 12. Okay. There's also another, as I said, the percentage, like 9 mod, we call it mod or modulus. So what is that supposed to mean? That means when you divide 9 by 2, you get 4. What's the leftover? That's 1. That's what this symbol stands for. So we use it to keep track of the remainder. Of course, to get the remainder, you have to divide. So we divide, but we are not focusing on the division. We just want to see what is left over the remainder. So here you're going to get 1. Now, what about if we have, let's say, 13 mod 5? So when you divide 13 by 5, what do you get? You get 2, right? 5 times 2 is 10, and then 3 is the remainder. So 3 is the remainder. If you have 27 mod 10, so the closest one is 2. 2 times 10 is 20, and the 7 is the leftover modulus. See, now it's 7. Okay, so because we don't use it a lot, so sometimes people get confused. Now what happens if I use this? 4 mod 11. What is the remainder? When the first number is smaller than the second number, then 4 is itself the modulus. Because when you divide 4 by 11, you get 0. 0 times 11 is 0, so 4 is the remainder, is the modulus. See, that's clear. So you may need, if you're not very familiar with this, or you may need to practice this, okay, many times before you can master it. So that's basically the arithmetic operation. As I said, there is also the power. Let's say, for example, 2, you want to raise it to the third. So that's going to give you 8. See, that means 2 times itself 3 times. Okay, if I put 5, that's going to give me 32. See, so when you see 2 stars, that stands for power. There's other way to use the power, but that's a simple way. Okay, but we're going to learn other ways using a package called math. Okay, that give us all the most frequently used, like square root, power, and other things. Okay. Now let's talk about how can we combine this, like variables and arithmetic operations. Sometimes you want to add, sometimes you want to perform some type of calculations or computation. So let's have variables. Let's say x is 5. Okay, that means now we assign the variable, we assign 5 to the variable x. And then for some reason, I want to add 1. So there are different ways you can do that. You can either put x plus equal 1. Okay, so this means add 1 to x and update x. That's basically what you are doing. Sorry, I just want to, okay. X plus equal 1, that means add 1, which means now x is not 5 anymore. So you are adding 1, but you are updating the value of x. It becomes 6. Remember the analogy of the box? If you put something in the box and then you make some change, you remove it and you put something else. So the old value is gone. So 5 is not there anymore. Now we have 6. From now on, the value of x is 6. So you can do it either this way or you can use another way. Okay, let me just replace it here. So either you put plus equal 1, that means add 1, or you can put this. It means the same thing. That means the old value, this is the old value of x, which is 5. And then you add 1, it becomes 6. And then you save it again in the box, remember? So now it is 6, okay? And then you can add, let's say, what about 2? You put this, okay? So now what's the value of x after all these changes? The value of x now is, and then you put value x. Now look what happened. We started with 5, we added 1 here, that's 6, and then we add 2 more, that's 8. So that's why the value is 8, okay? So these are two different ways to add. Either you put the old value, and then either whatever we said about plus, it's applicable to minus, okay? So for example, let's use another variable, y equals 9. So now, if I use y minus equal 3, so be careful that you don't start with the equal sign first. Because if you start with the equal sign, all what you are saying is the y equals -3. So you are changing the value to -3. You are not subtracting 3. So make sure the plus, minus, multiply is coming first. Then you put equal sign. So this is just a shortcut for this. This is basically the standard, is this. But because we use it a lot, so Python came up with this shortcut. So that means add your stuff, put in this x equal x plus 2, we just do this. Plus equal to, it remains the same. All what you are doing, you are just adding 2 to the whatever value you had before, and this is the new value. So as you can see here, y equals 9. Now I subtract 3. Now I'm going to use the value, so the value of y now, so I'm going to put the value of y now is y. So now what's the value? So 9 minus 3 is 6. So now you can see, let me see what problem happened. Oh, it did not accept this. So in this case, we're going to put it in a separate line. Okay, so the value of x is 8 and the value of 9. Okay, so that's plus, that's minus, and the same thing for other operation. So for example, z is, let's say, 4. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go right here and then put z multiply equal. So now I'm multiply by, let's say, 3. So now 4 times 3 is 12. Now z, the value of z is 12. Okay, again, let's copy it here. So you can see. So whatever we did with plus, it's applicable to all of them. See? So what is the value of z? You already multiply 4 times 3. So that's 12. And again, and this is the same thing for division. So if we say, put here, let's say, call it a. So if a is 64. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing. A, then you divide. Remember, you can either do this Or you can do the shortcut, which is divide first equal 4. So these two are exactly the same. They have the same effect. Now, once you become very like comfortable with this, you're going to be using the shortcut a lot because it's faster and easier. Okay, but if you see it somewhere else, it means the same thing. So now again, let's do this and see what is the value of A. So, oh, I didn't change this. Z, and this is A. So what is A? The original value or the initial value is 64. I divide by 4, so that's 16. The value of A, it says 6, it says 12, 64, and then I put 64 divided by 4. Is it 12? Oh, I put Z, stop putting A. Sorry about that. Yeah. So the program does exactly what you ask. So I mean A, but I put Z, but the program does exactly what you ask it to do. So as you can see right here, this is 16. Okay. Now why 16.0? Because we are using the a normal division. Okay. Normal division. If I use the other one, divide, that's going to give us only the integer. See? So remember, when you have two, you are just dividing. It's called integer division. You can get only the integer part of it. So this is basically how we perform arithmetic operation. Now let's have an example because we just learned about a lot of things. Now let's put them into practice. So let me just give you like a problem, and then we're going to try to solve it together. So I'm going to delete all this stuff. So let me give you the problem. So the problem is, and I'm going to use this. Okay. So I'm going to put create a program or an application that's from to enter or its end user or the employee to enter the number of hours he or she works weekly. Okay. And then the rate per hour. Okay. And then the rate per hour and the weekly emails, how much you get paid. Okay, so we're gonna create an application, ask the user, okay, how many hours do you work? How much do you get paid per hour? And tell me like how much you get paid. Okay, so that's no problem. All right, so we're gonna get started. First one, we're gonna call it hours. Okay, we need to have the variable hours. And then, if you remember what I said, if you put input, it's not gonna be a number. It's gonna be only text. That's why we need to make sure we convert it to integer. Enter the number of hours. And then remember, we need to change it to integer. So you put that statement inside integer, all of it. Okay. And then we're going to see here our, or let's call it pay rates. Okay. As you can see right here, I'm trying to follow the rules. Pay either like this or like this. This is the convention. But don't leave a space. This would be wrong. Okay, so pay rate, and then pay rate most likely is going to be float, right? So again, with input, you still have to convert that into how much you get paid per hour. Again, you need to convert that. Otherwise, it's going to be treated as text. Okay, so enter how much you get paid per hour. Now I'm going to put the final weekly pay. So how do you get the weekly pay? You multiply the two. So I'm going to put hours multiplied by the pay rate. Be careful because 95% or more of the mistakes of the errors are misspelling by experience. Majority of the problems are going to be by spelling. Why? Because it's case sensitive. So hours uppercase is not the same thing as hours lowercase. You have to be very careful. So now I did everything. Now I'm going to display the answer. Print, and then I'm going to say weekly pay. Maybe I should ask about the name first. Yeah. So I'm going to put name equals. Now I don't have to convert this one because it's already text, right? Enter your name. So it's going to be saved. Okay. So I'm going to put here the weekly pay is, and I put comma, and then you put weekly pay. Okay. And maybe I'm going to add with thanking this employee for using this program. Thank you. Look, I'm going to use comma, and then I already have the name right here. Name. That means whatever the name is, David, Maria, Steve, whatever, it's going to be here. Okay. For using our program, something like that. Okay. Now let's run the program. Run. Make sure that you can see the output. So enter your name, Maria. Hit the enter key. That's going to ask a number of hours. Let's say 35 hours. Enter how much you get paid. Let's say $25.75. Wait. And I'm going to hit the enter key. What's going to happen? It's going to multiply the two, save it in weekly pay, and then display the results. See, the weekly pay is 901.25. Thank you, Maria Gomez, for using our books. As you can see, it's a very simple program. So we use everything we talked about in one program. So as you can see right here, we use the variable, we use the how we get input from the user, and we convert from text to integer and float. We use arithmetic operation, we use print, we use like separated the text from, so we basically all and the comments. So all of this in one program. And that's basically what's going to happen. We're going to keep building. That's what it's interesting about computer science. You keep building on whatever you learn. It's not like in other subjects. Chapter one sometimes has nothing to do with chapter two. Chapter three is a different, subject or maybe different area. Now here in computer science, we're going to keep using print till the end of the semester. We're going to keep using variable till the end. It's just like we keep building and adding more concept to it. And that makes it easier. So even if you miss something the first week or the first chapter, you're going to have to go over it again. So you have enough time to grasp the concepts because you keep using them on a regular basis. Okay, it's like a picture, and then every time you add like a piece of the puzzle. Every time you add one piece, the picture becomes even more clear. Okay, so that's basically it. All right, so that's how the program works, as you can see right here. Does anybody have any questions? Robert, do you have any questions? Any?
Nope. Everything's clear so far.
Okay, great, great. So there's something also, sometimes, let's say this name, for whatever reason, I don't know what data type. Is it text? Is it integer? Is it float? Is it what? So you can do something like this. You can put print and you ask the program the type. That means what type? Sometimes you are using variable and you forgot. Okay, I don't know. Is this for integer? Is it what type? Type means is it a string? String means text, anything between quotation marks, or integer, or double, or float. Float, that means decimal, or boolean, or bool. We call it a bool. Basically, either true or false. So, for example, if I put name, the program is going to tell me what type. Why? Because the program will figure out from here that it is a text. Okay. So if I put run, see, okay, I'll have to go through the program first. So let's say Maria hours 15:35. See, it says str, that means string. That means this variable is for text. Okay, so let me get this. in here, so I don't have to run the program every time. See, now what about hours? I'm gonna try to find out. This is in case that especially if the program gets bigger, sometimes you forget, oh, what is this? So hours is gonna say integer. See, it's gonna say integer. Let me see here what I did. Oh yeah, because remember here what happened? The program is telling me what is name. Why? Because I changed everything to comment. So now the program does not recognize them anymore. Okay? So I have no choice but just to, because when you put them as a comment, then they are not recognized by the computer anymore. So now we have no choice but to run the program. Okay, so enter your name, Steve. Steve. Oh, Steve. I don't know why the program is okay. Steve, enter the number of hours 40. And then how much you get paid? 35.75. And when you see it says int, that means the hours is it. And then if you do the same thing, floats. So we have another type, by the way. So this is the more frequently one. str, that means string, anything that has a text. For example, I can save this when I put, for example, let's say address is, and I'm going to put the address 35 Houston Boulevard, for example. So the program knows that this is a string. So if I put print type, it's going to say it is a string. Why? Because it's between quotation marks, address. Okay. But if I put, for example, let's say value, and I put 15, the program will figure out that we are using an integer. So type value is going to say integer. And the same thing right here, average, if I put 75.20. So the program will figure out that it is a float. Okay, so let's print them and then we're going to talk about the Boolean. So let's say here we said Steve, number of hours, 50 hours, 25. See, so it's going to say here, let's see, str, so that's name, and then we have hours is integer, and then we have address str, and then value it's 15 is integer, and then the other one I forgot to change this one to average, and that's going to stay float. So I have to repeat this again. Maria, 40 hours, 35.75. See, it says float because it accepts decimal. There is another type, it's called bool. For example, if I put this, vaccinated, for example. If I put vaccinated, it's false. See? So this bool accepts either true or false. The true or false. So when I put vaccinated is false, okay? That means this is one value vaccinated. You can put, for example, another one. Let's say, I want to know if this value average is passing. So I'm gonna call it pass. Okay. And I'm gonna say average. Is it higher or equal than 70? So it's like you are asking the question, is the average higher or equal than 70? So I should expect yes or no, true or false. So since the average is higher, so it's like you are putting true in pass. So if I print pass, it's gonna say true. Why? Because the program will compare and find out that yes, 75.20 is higher or equal than 70, so it is true. So if you run it, See, vaccinated. Oh, let me see, vaccinated. Suppose, let me see what happened. Invalid center. Oh, because of this. No, there's something more. So it puts false. Okay, let me. Okay, I'm gonna put here as a comment. So if I run the program now, oh, I still using pass. Oh boy, probably you don't have to put bold. Oh, because I was using that sometimes. Um, I was thinking like sometimes I use different languages. So here you don't have to, as you can see, you don't have to. So put pass equal average higher equals than 7. Let me see, line 22. Pass equal average equal higher equal than 7. What's wrong with that? Syntax error. Average.
Professor, does the greater than and equals have to be has to have a space?
Okay, let's try this one and see. Let's see if that's the problem. No, not one of the space. It's interesting. Maybe you have to use the parentheses. No, I don't think it's required.
I think the problem is you need to put like equal instead of only
Oh
equal.
yeah. You're right. Yeah, because you are
Yeah.
assigning. Yeah, but I'm just assigning. If I put equal, it's like I don't think because I'm assigning a value. Just like when I put value equals 15. I don't think that's the problem. Let me try. See, I don't think because I'm just assigning a value, so value to pass. And this one average higher or equal than 70. Okay, let me put just equal sign. Okay, if I put here, let me see if it's gonna say error. It's still pointing to this. Interesting. Okay, let me do it different way. If I put print and I put average higher or equal than 70, is it going to say true, false? Let me try. See, Maria enter the number of hours, 30, 45. Say it says true. See, that means it is a value that I can assign. Oh, I know what the problem is. You know what the problem is? It's one of the violation. Remember, I violated. Remember, I talked about four rules that you cannot violate. I violated one of them. Who can tell me what is the one that I violated? That's very hard to. I did not make any, let's say, a programming. It was not an error. It was just misuse, or maybe I used the wrong name because pass is a Python keyword. That's why. If I use anything else, it would be fine. Let me show you how. So if I use, let's say, pass, see, that's why even the color is the same, right? So if I use this, then it should be no problem. Let me see if it's gonna run. It's gonna say, see, it doesn't say anything. So I use a keyword that's Python is reserved only for Python to use because pass is a keyword, and I'm gonna use it later. Okay, maybe when we get to the conditional statements and the loop, we're gonna use it. So that's why I need to change it. Add at least like something, pass one, but don't leave it as pass. See? So now, oh, sorry, I have to stop the program now. Now, if I print pass, it's gonna say true. And then if I put, Okay, and if I put, see, and it's gonna say true, and if I put type, it's gonna say bool. So pass. That means what type is this? But I need to print it so you can see it. Print type pass. So again, I need to go over all. So 40, 35, and see, it says bool. Bool, that is Boolean. That means either true or false. That's the only values accepted here. Okay. So I think we covered pretty much everything. If we miss anything, we're going to talk about it next week. So let me just summarize and see if you have any questions about anything. Now, but before I end, can you change from one to the other since we talked about this? Like, for example, this average. I can change it, let's say, for whatever reason. I can change it to integer like this, average, for whatever reason. Maybe like you want to save it as an integer. So this average is 75.20. So what you are doing basically, but by putting int, that means, okay, get me only the integer part of it. Okay, let me just stop this from here. Okay, I'm going to, let me see, yeah, I'm going to stop here. So this way, I don't have to run all this program. Okay, and then, all right. So average normally is what? Is 75.20. But for whatever reason, I want to convert it into, you can convert from one to the other. Of course, if the conversion is valid, like it's okay to convert from integer to float or decimal and vice versa, but you cannot sometimes convert from two different data types because it's not possible. Like how can you change from float to bool, for example? Sometimes it doesn't make sense. So if I run the program, as you can see right here, see, it says 75 because I converted from 75.20 by just adding int. But make sure the variable that you are changing is inside the parentheses or the value, okay? And I can do the same thing for value. I can change it the other way around. So I'm gonna change it to float. That means for whatever reason, sometimes, you want to change it. So I'm gonna change value. So value initially it's 15, now it's gonna become 15.0. See? So sometimes, you may need to do that, just be aware. So let me summarize. So we talked about the comment first, okay? Comment is something that is ignored, that's not processed by the program. It's only for you. Now, especially when the program gets bigger, sometimes you forget what you are doing, especially if you come back maybe a week, a month, and then you're like, what is that supposed to mean? So you forgot because when you are typing, you have all the information, but after a while, you just yourself, even though you are the one who typed the program, sometimes you forget. And also for other people, and for your teacher, also for your instructor, it helps if you come up with the comments because you make at least, even if you get the program wrong, but if when you put the comment, that helps the professor understand what you are doing, and you may get at least partial credit. Oh, okay, I got it. That comment will simplify. It's like you are communicating what you are doing. But without comment, he has no idea what you are doing because you are the only one who knows what's in there. So comment is always a good idea. So if it is only one line, we put the pound key, okay? If it is a paragraph like this, then we put 3, single quote like this. That's the starting, and then you end it. So anything in between becomes a comment. And we talked about the different variables. So we said that variable, to define a valid variable, you have to make sure that you don't start with the number, don't leave a space, don't choose any keyword that Python uses. And then the only special characters you can use is underscore, okay? And you can put underscore in the front, in the middle, at the end, it does not really matter. Okay, and then we talked about the the arithmetic operation. Okay, so we said that it's just like in computer science, we follow the order of operation, or you can call it PEMDAS. We start with the parentheses first. Anything between parentheses will come first. Then we have multiplication, division, and the remainder. All of them, they have the same precedence. They have the same, order. They come first. And then addition and subtraction is the last one to be performed, okay? And then also we talked about assignments, how to add. We said plus, equal, minus, equal, multiply, equal, and then divide, equal. And then we said also that division is two types. There is what we call the normal division. That's, when you divide 9 by 2, you get 4.5, like a normal division that you are familiar with. But sometimes you may use integer division. So when you divide, and that's using 2 forward slashes, you get only the integer part of the number. So if you divide 9, 2 forward slash 2, you're going to get only 4, not 4.5. So sometimes you may need that, depending on the situation. Okay? So, and then we also talked about the remainder, which is the leftover. We call it modulus. And then we talked about the type. The type will help us identify what data type the variable we're using. So it's going to say str, it's going to say bool, if it's true or false, it's going to say int or float. These are the most common ones. Okay? So that's pretty much. If you have any questions or any concerns, please do not hesitate. So let me just stop sharing and see if you, let me see, I'm trying to cover the, let me see about the Canvas and see if you have any questions. Let me just open.
I just wanted to ask about
Yes.
the rules again. You
Yeah.
said there was 4, no space, special, is only underscore, and I want to make sure I understood the first 2.
Yeah, you can name anything you want. 4 rules. That means you cannot start with the number. That means the digit, the name of your variable cannot start with number 5 or 6 or 3 or 0. No, you can't do that. You cannot have a space. You cannot call it grade space average. Why? Because you are creating confusion. Is this one variable or 2? So make sure you connect them, okay? There should be no space in the middle. Okay? We're talking about one variable. And then you cannot use any of the keywords. Remember, like by accident or by mistake, I used one, I didn't even, I forgot. I called it pass. And then everything is fine. I was like trying to find until we figured out that pass is a keyword for Python. So that's why I had to change the name to pass with ed, okay? Because that's a reserved or a keyword for Python. So this is the 4. Don't start with the number. Don't leave a space in the middle. Don't use any of the keyword of Python, and don't use any special character. You cannot use question mark. You cannot use dots. You cannot use dash. You can use underscore. There's a difference, okay? Dash is unacceptable, but underscore it is. It's fine. And then the exclamation mark, pretty much nothing is accepted, okay? So these are the rules. Any other questions?
Yes, I do have questions.
Yes, go ahead.
So, on the first rule, after an underscore, can we use a digit, let's say underscore 1, and then name?
Yeah. So don't use the number. I mean, can you start with underscore? Yes. Underscore, you can put it in the front, in the middle, or the end. No problem. No issues. The number, you can have them at the end, in the middle, but just don't start with them.
No. Let's say that we put underscore and then a digit and then a
Yeah,
name.
that's fine. As long as it's not the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
You.
All right. Let me go just see what's in there to see if you.
I have one question.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
The semicolon. Do
Yeah.
you only use it when you finish at the end?
No. This is in Java. Make sure. Yeah, that's one of the mistakes sometimes people make. Semicolon is only in Java when you try to end. In Python, we don't use that. We don't use semicolon. We don't do anything. When you finish the statement, just start a new one but you don't need to have a semicolon. This is only in Java and C++ where you have to put semicolon at the end.
I saw you used semicolon.
Yeah, by mistake, because I teach a lot of languages.
Oh,
Sometimes
okay.
I forget. Yeah, because
All right. Okay.
I teach Python, I teach C++, I teach Java, I teach other languages. So sometimes, I have to remind myself, oh, this is Python, not Java.
Okay.
So if I did it by mistake, I'm sorry, I apologize.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, thank you. If you see me next time, remind me, okay, in case I forget. Okay, so this is the assignment you're going to be responsible for this week. As you can see here, this is simple. So when you create a program, it's like when you run the program should display this. Basically, you're just going to use print, right? That's what we've been doing. And make sure you put quotation marks. So you're going to put print, and then you type this, and then you close it with quotation mark, like this. Let me show you. So you're going to put, okay, let me just get rid of this. So basically, when you are just typing the text, you just put print, as long as it is between quotation mark, and then you put the same thing. Welcome to Texas, whatever. Whatever you have in here, you're going to do the same thing. All these 3 lines, you're going to print, print, print. That's it. For number 2, you're going to do the same thing. Okay, here you can put this name, or you can make up one. But when you run the program, I want to see this. So every line is a statement. So for example, if I go here, I'm going to put, let's say, and by the way, it doesn't matter. You can use any. So you can use star if you want to. And then each line is different. So you're going to put copy, and then you put the second one. And then the third one, you're going to take off the space, and then you start typing. Let's say right here, Maria Gomez. And then make sure it's aligned. So when I run, look, that's exactly what you're going to see. So you're just going to continue the same thing. And then when you finish, you're going to end with the same thing you started with. So this is copy. When you finish everything, then end with this. So it becomes like a complete box. Everybody got this? So just to basically to get you to be comfortable with the program. So we're just printing. All what you are doing is just printing stuff. So all of them should be between quotation marks. The same thing right here, you're going to make your initials, whatever initials you have, using, again, the quotation marks. Every line is the statement. Every line is a statement. Like, for example, I can make mine, for example, using, let's say, I can put this. So let's say E is my first letter, okay? This is the first one, okay? So this is going to be space because there is nothing here, right? I can just copy it maybe. Okay, I need to make sure the space stays there. Okay, and then I'm going to copy this a couple of times. This is the way I want to make E. So another one, maybe I'm going to bring this one over here. So that's going to be the one in the middle. See, maybe also repeat this. So basically, by the end, when you run the program, it's going to show your initials. See, and then maybe add another one, and then end with this. Now this is E, right? Copy it and paste it here. So you're just plain right. See, this is E, and then you're going to do the same thing. If you have M, if you have, it's going to look like this. See, nothing complicated. You're just playing around with this and then making stuff. Okay, if your initials are difficult, okay, just say, okay, my name is this, but sometimes they call me this, and let's choose something easy. Okay, so this is pretty much it. And then here, create a program that displays the results of the average of 4 grades, make any necessary. So remember, we talked about the order of operation. If you do it the way it is, what's going to happen? The program will divide, then it will add the other 3 numbers. So that's going to give you a different answer. Okay? Different answer. Okay, I think I need to make sure I change this because that is only in Java here. So I'm not going to add this. So forget about this. So you just need to put the parentheses basically here. So because if you copy this, let me save it. If you try to run the program, it's not gonna give you the right answer because you are trying to add them up and then divide by 4 to get the average. But if you leave it the way it is, the program will divide 85 by 4 and then add the other 3. So all what you need to do is just basically just add the parentheses, that's it. For number 5, whatever we did with the employee, now if you came late, then I'm gonna post this lecture. It is being recorded. So I went through an example of the employee, how you get input from the user. Here, I don't think you have to, you can, I think here you are assigning a value, but you can prompt the user like the way we did. You have the choice. If you want to assign these values that you already have, 4.5 and 7.9 to the 2 variables that you have, you can. If you want to do it the way I did, by prompting the user using inputs and stuff like that, you can. So you have the choice between the 2. All right. Anyway, look, most of the programs are for completion grade. I just want to see how far you can go. I just want you to try the practice. So I don't want you to stress out about this. But try your best. If you get stuck, that's okay. There's a name for that, learning. Okay? Just try your best, be comfortable, and then don't worry about, I'm gonna mess up and maybe that's gonna take up. No. So because the way we grade the program is different from other subjects, okay? It's based on the effort and how far you go. Because you will definitely have errors. That's why you learn with these errors. Okay. So I don't want you to stress out about this. Just try your best. Most of them, if not all of them, are for as long as you try, you complete them. What I mean by complete, you don't go halfway. That's not completion grade. Completion, that means you went through the entire thing. Even if you have errors, you still completed the whole thing. You're gonna get completion grade, perfect score. But if you go halfway, of course, that's not completion grade, all right? All right, any other questions before we conclude?
I have a question. So submitting